Taiwan is 36,000 square kilometers. Every major power that moved through this part of the world left a mark on it. Dutch traders establishing the first colonial foothold in 1624, Han Chinese migrants arriving in waves across centuries, Japanese occupation reshaping the island's agriculture and infrastructure for half a century, and in 1949, an entire government and its people relocating here. These are 10 foods born here. Bubble tea. Bubble tea is Taiwan's most exported food invention, created in the 1980s, and the credit has been disputed ever since. Both claimants are Taiwanese. Liu Hanjie of Chunshui Tang in Taichung adapted cold Japanese coffee service to tea in 1983, combining brewed tea with milk and tapioca pearls made from sweet potato or cassava starch. The drink is served cold over ice in a sealed plastic cup developed for street mobility, for a night market economy that needed food to move. It comes in hundreds of variations today: fruit teas, milk teas, taro, brown sugar. But the base format of tea, pearls, and sealed cup was built here. The origin was never ambiguous: beef noodle soup. Beef noodle soup is Taiwan's national dish, born from a collision of cultures in 1949. KMT soldiers, arriving from the mainland, brought Sichuan spice instincts to an island where Japan had already built beef slaughter infrastructure, something local Haklo and Hakka food culture had never required. The red braised broth builds on a base of doubanjiang, soy sauce, rice wine, and local aromatics like ginger, garlic, and star anise, slow cooked with beef shank or tendon until the meat falls apart. It's served over thick, chewy wheat noodles and finished with pickled mustard greens and scallion. The dish formalized in Kaohsiung's military villages, built for those who arrived and stayed, and has since become the most recognized bowl on the island. Iron egg. Iron egg is traceable to a single town, a single vendor, and a single accident. Zhang Huang Baoyue ran a tea egg stall in Danshui, New Taipei in the 1970s. Unsold eggs were returned to the braising pot of soy sauce, five spice, and aromatics, then returned again. The repeated cycle of braising followed by air drying, repeated up to 9 or 10 times over several days, transformed the eggs entirely. Dense, chewy, and nearly black, nothing like what entered the pot. The accident was recognized and the method was kept. They're typically sold in small packs and eaten as a street snack, often alongside a cold beer. Every iron egg made since replicates that same cycle deliberately. There's still a whole world out there we haven't explored yet. So if you want to see where we go next, make sure you subscribe, and tell me in the comments where we should travel next. Pineapple cake. Pineapple cake is a colonial-era invention assembled from an indigenous fruit and a Japanese pastry structure. Taiwan was among the world's largest pineapple exporters during Japanese occupation. The fruit was already central to the island's agricultural identity. Japanese wagashi confectionery culture introduced short-crust molding technique during that same period. The shell is made from a buttery, crumbly short-crust pastry using flour, butter, egg, and powdered sugar, molded into a small rectangular block and baked until golden. The filling is a dense, slow-cooked pineapple jam, concentrated, slightly tangy, and sweet. The original filling was 100% pineapple, local, direct, and uncompromised. Today it is one of Taiwan's most gifted foods, the object the island hands to visitors as something worth taking home. Coffin bread. Coffin bread was invented in Tainan in 1948 by one man and named by a professor. Shu Lu Yi built a preparation that had no predecessor, a thick slab of white bread, deep-fried until golden and hollow, filled with a creamy chowder of seafood or chicken, corn, and vegetables bound in a milk-based sauce, then capped with its own cut lid. He called it Ji Pie. A professor from National Cheng Kung University ate it, looked at the shape, and said it resembled a coffin lid. Shu adopted the name immediately. The cream-based filling reflects Yoshoku influence, Japanese Western food absorbed during occupation, but the construction itself, a vessel made from its own bread, belonged to no tradition before Shu built it. Turkey rice. Turkey rice is a Chiayi City dish with a direct origin in American military surplus. Turkey has no place in the food traditions that shaped Taiwan, not in Hoklo cooking, not in Hakka cooking, not in the Japanese culinary infrastructure left behind after occupation. American military aid programs introduced surplus frozen turkey to the island in the 1950s. Chiayi cooks shredded the meat, laid it over white rice, and finished it with a soy-based sauce, crispy fried shallots, and pickled daikon on the side. The turkey is typically steamed or poached to keep it tender before shredding, and the sauce is drizzled over the top rather than mixed in, keeping each element distinct in the bowl. The dish exists almost exclusively in Chiayi, and what started as surplus became something the city made entirely its own. Taro ball. Taro ball is a Jufan invention built from what grew in the hills surrounding the mountain town and sold to workers during the gold mining era. Local taro and sweet potato are cooked, mashed, and combined with starch to form soft, chewy spheres. Taro balls are purple, sweet potato balls are golden, then boiled until they float. They are served warm or cold in a sweet broth alongside other starch preparations like red bean and grass jelly. When the mining economy collapsed in the mid-20th century, the food stalls remained, and Jufan became known for this dish as much as the gold it was once built around. Oyster omelet. Oyster omelet is built on a starch technique that defines everything about it. Oysters and eggs exist in coastal food traditions across the region. What Taiwan constructed is the binder, sweet potato starch slurry poured onto a griddle, set around the oysters and egg, producing a chewy, sticky, semi-translucent base that is neither omelet nor pancake. That texture is the dish. Remove the starch technique and what remains is a different preparation entirely. The flat oyster variety used comes from aquaculture developed in Tainan and Chiayi. The dish is finished with a sweet, savory, fermented soybean paste sauce, applied at the moment of serving, not cooked in. The starch came from Taiwan's soil. The technique came from Taiwan's kitchens. Bawan. Bawan was born from a flood. In 1898, severe flooding in Changhua County destroyed the rice crops. Zhang Jinyi of Beidu Township built a preparation from the only starch available, sweet potato, forming a translucent, gelatinous shell around a filling of pork, bamboo shoots, and mushrooms seasoned with soy sauce, garlic, and 5-spice. The shell is made by combining sweet potato starch with water into a thick batter, filled and then steamed or deep-fried until it sets into a soft, wobbly casing. It is served with a sweet and savory sauce made from soy, sugar, and fermented ingredients poured over the top and garnished with fresh cilantro. Regional variations developed across central Taiwan in the century that followed, but Beidu holds the origin. Sun cake. Sun cake belongs to Taichung, with multiple locals claiming its invention, a debate that has never left the city. First appearing in the 1940s, the cake is built from thin, flaky layers of pastry made with lard and flour, wrapped around a soft, chewy center of maltose, a natural sweetener derived from barley that produces a texture no substitution replicates. The pastry is baked until the layers separate and crisp, while the maltose filling stays dense and pulled, stretching slightly when broken apart. It became Taichung's official gift food, the object the city hands to the world as its identity compressed into a single pastry. Unlike many Chinese pastries, it contains no red bean, no lotus, and no sesame. The maltose filling alone is what defines it. Taiwan has been described as a place where cultures meet. That framing is not wrong. A flood built a dumpling, an accident built a method. A stranger named a dish, and the inventor kept it. Scarcity, collision, and accident. These are not stories of influence. They are stories of transformation. This is what that table looks like.